Welcome to the C-Files. This will be a short video. As I was doing my daily devotion today, I came across this. This is Deuteronomy 16, verse 19. Thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift does blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. Now he's writing this to the judges and officers that sit in the gates of the cities of Israel. In other words, this is to city officials. And what is he saying? What he's saying is, be impartial in judgment. Don't be partial. We break that rule all the time in cities across America. City officials are always partial. He says, thou shalt not respect persons. In other words, don't be unjust in your judgment of persons. Right? Don't give precedence to one person over another person. That's what it means by not being a respecter of persons. You're not giving one person privileges because they have money and influence, and another person is treated differently because they're poor and they don't have influence in City Hall. God says don't do that. And then it says, he says, neither take a gift. Money influences politics. It influences politicians. Money can buy a politician. We all know that. Money can buy a politician, and that politician will do whatever the one who gave the money wants him to do. So God says to city officials, don't take a gift, because a gift will blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. Now that is wisdom from what, 3,000 years ago? Maybe close to 4,000 years ago, that God gave to Israel in the book of Deuteronomy, and it still holds true today of government officials. It's an example of how God talks about government and how he instructs government and tells government, this is how you are to be. You are to be impartial. You are to be just in how you treat people, and don't take influence, briberies, or even gifts that would influence you in your office so that you're bought and paid for by someone. Because it, as the verse says, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise. It would blind your eyes. You're not able to see clearly what's happening and make good judgment, make good discerned decisions. Decision making is so important when it comes to public officials. I learned that when I was in law enforcement. Decision making is so important. Making good decisions. And pervert the words of the righteous. Even if you're a righteous man, even if you're a man who claims to walk with God, walk with your Savior, if you take a gift, that still is going to be an influence. That is going to be a negative influence upon you. And so I'm running for city council. I'm not taking gifts. I'm not taking donations. Our system in this country does have that setup where you have to take gifts in order to be able to run your campaign. Fortunately, in the state of North Carolina, if you spend under $1,000 You don't have to do all the reporting that someone who spends over $1,000 does, as long as you declare to the state that you're going to keep it under $1,000. Now, if you keep it under $1,000, you cannot take gifts. In other words, you're spending your own money to run your own campaign. In a city of 5,000 people, there's no need for me to take money or take gifts to run a campaign for city council. There's no reason for that. A lot of people already know each other in this city. And so I bought a few signs that I will put out, and I'll talk to some people. There's already people who know me who that have desired for me to go on to the city council, and they will vote for me, and they will, influence others to vote for me, and that's how it would work. But only because I have developed a good reputation with these people. In other words, not a good reputation in the sense of corruption, where I'll go along with what they're doing, and they're corrupt. No, a good reputation in that they are not corrupt. They are godly people who have influence in this city, who will say, he's a man that he will maintain integrity in office. That's the reputation I want to have. That's what I pray for our country. That more people will go in the office that will uphold integrity, uphold godly morals and values. And this is an example of the godly morals and values that we need in government. That we would have impartiality, that we would judge people righteously, do it with impartiality, and do it with sound judgment, and without influence of money, and that we would not treat one person better than the other based upon status. And see if there's anything I'm missing. Thou shalt not rest judgment, judge impartially, and don't have respect to persons. Don't treat people differently based upon their status. That's what we need in office. Unfortunately, we live in a world that doesn't play the game that way. And the reason they don't play the game that way is because they don't have godly values and they don't have godly integrity. And what happens to good people who go to Washington, D.C., is the second part of the verse, where money, the gifts, influence them. And that begins to be their downfall. Or they get caught in a compromising position where they get baited in to do something that they shouldn't be doing, and then they're blackmailed. And they have to do the bidding of the person who's blackmailing them, or the organization that's blackmailing them. So you can see how biblical principles will protect you from these traps if you go into office. Don't fall for the traps. Don't fall for the trickery. Stay above board. Do things the way God is instructing you to do them in government. So yes, God has a lot to say about government, and God has a lot to say about running for office and taking an elected position. Now, these were not elected positions, they were appointed, but it's still the same thing, the same principles. If you take a position of power in government, these are the types of things you should be doing to maintain integrity. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on the C-Files.